Warning, Hebrews Toys Reviews is not intended for children. It is for adult collectors and people over the age of 18.
Hello everybody, Hebrew77 here, and it's been a while since I've done a toy review. It's been so long, in fact, as you can see, I've actually managed to grow a full beard. Now today's toy review, we'll be reviewing a G.I. Joe action figure. And not any ordinary G.I. Joe action figure. That's right, I'm talking about the force on the ground. Talking about the backbone of the military, America's fighting men and women, the Grunt. Or more specifically, today I'll be talking about G.I. Joe Grunt, aka Robert Graves. Interesting enough, the character didn't even have a name in his early development. It wasn't until the cartoon in 1984 that he actually did develop a name. But the character was so popular that he was actually on the cover of the original G.I. Joe Colorform set in its first release. As you can see here, he's basically striking the same pose as the action figure on the card back. Except on the Colorform set, he's not holding his gun. Let me get a close-up of that. Do you see what I'm saying there? They took the gun out of the Colorform set. I'm not quite sure why that was, since the 80s wasn't that asinine on their code of ethics when it came to guns and violence. Although they did have the G.I. Joes and Cobras shooting red and blue lasers. So, that may explain a lot. But anyway, enough of that. Let's get down to the retro G.I. Joe toy review. Here is the retro G.I. Joe Grunt, aka Robert Grunt Graves. Now, I'm not a huge fan of this toy line, as you all know. I've gone on several rants about this in the past. However, when I saw this, I knew I had to absolutely have it, no doubts about it. Simply because I've never had one. Even when they did the 25th anniversary, which I think this was Grunt at one time that we got. Let me zoom in on him. But I got this figure off of eBay, or maybe even the Goodwill. As you can see, his straps are not on him. I think he was a vehicle driver for the Armadillo, but don't quote me on that. This actually is not the helmet that came with him. I put a original 1984 or 1983 G.I. Joe helmet on this Grunt action figure. As you can see, his arms are quite loose. He barely stands on the stand that I've got him on, but I do believe he is a variant of Grunt. If not the 25th anniversary, then maybe the Joe versus Cobra or something along those lines. But anyway, here is the Walmart exclusive retro toy line Grunt. As you can see, I'm probably not going to take him out of the package because I do not have a duplicate at this time. But he comes with a, what I believe the contents explains is a .45 caliber pistol, Army field knife, of course your field pack, a helmet, and standard M16 filled rifle, automatic machine gun, I should say. But yes, this is Grunt. This is a green soldier, which originally in the toy line, they never intended to give this guy a name. He was just going to be a regular green shirt soldier, as with the rest of the soldiers. He is one of the original 13, if not the most popular of the original 13, even more so than the leader, Hawk, which I do have, but I didn't get him out for this example. Now, in 2002 or 2003, they came out with I think it was six-pack of green shirt soldiers that had blank file cards that you could pretty much fill out yourself. You could name your own soldier. This is a Toys R Us exclusive, and you better believe that when I was in Toys R Us at the time and I saw this pack, I got it immediately, followed by the Crimson Guard 6-pack, which oddly enough did not come in crimson. They were in black uniform. Sadly, we didn't get the crimson version until a lot later, and it wasn't a Toys R Us exclusive. But anyway, I do have all of my original 6 of these guys. They all come with their M16s, the helmets, and the field backpacks, which I do have, but they're kind of not with me, if you will, I guess. So I'm not going to go through the whole thing searching through all of that. But anyway, this is what G.I. Joe was originally supposed to be. Just a bunch of narrate green soldiers, much like the little green soldiers that were, let's see, probably about this much, maybe that much shorter than the 3¼ inch G.I. Joes. And that was the original idea, is we're going to come out with soldier men, like toy soldiers, that are fully posable. Now, they had already done a 12-inch G.I. Joe line, of course, and if you know your history, then you know all of this. But Hasbro decided, no, we need to have names, they need to have backgrounds, so forth and so on. So they hired on Larry Hama, who is an actual Vietnam vet, who came up with backgrounds and different specialties for these guys, and the file cards and the comic books and so forth and so on. Speaking of file cards, let's go on and read Robert Graves' file card, aka Grunt. Now, I am not a particular fan of these file cards, as I have mentioned in the past, but I will try to get through this one. And the reason why I'm not such a fan is because we have to have every single language from every single country on the back of these things. These are G.I. Joes, a real American hero. You know, back in the 80s when the original file cards came out, you only had one language, and that was it. For the most part, with the exception of maybe a few that came out later on, maybe in the 90s, but I didn't collect the 90s because I was well into teenagehood when that occurred. So anyway, let's get on with the file card of Robert Graves, Grunt, codename Grunt. Robert W. Graves, Row, Military Infantry Trooper, Primary Specialty Infantry, Secondary Specialty Small Arms Armor Artillery Coordinator, Birthplace Columbus, Ohio. And we go over here and we see familiar with all NATO and Warsaw Pact small arms, as well as domestic civilian arms, a highly motivated, systematic individual. And let's see here, usually on the bottom of these, and that's all you have. This is a short file card because he is but a mere grunt. And back in the day, back in the 80s when these figures first came out, the first 13, you could collect pretty much any of these and do army building. However, you know how army building went back then with your parents. Hey Mom, here's what I want. I want about 4, maybe 5 more of this grunt figure. No, son, that's ridiculous. You already have that figure. I'm not getting you another figure. Are you kidding me? And that was the end of the argument. So troop building back in those days was all but impossible. And now, today, with eBay, troop building is nearly almost impossible because of such high prices, because these figures are in high demand. I mean, just go and try to get just one of these figures on eBay, and we're talking about upwards of maybe like $100 or $200 or $300 for a original grunt still in the package with all of his weapons. Now, here I think you have extra weapons because I think the original figure only came with his M16 backpack and helmet. So it is sort of an upgrade from the original grunt, but I do like the cover artwork. It is beautifully recaptured in this remake or retro or whatever you want to call it. But Grunt is, in fact, the ultimate fighting man, the ultimate soldier. And one of my very favorite episodes that features Grunt is in Worlds Without End, parts 1 and 2. You see some of the original 13. You see Grunt. You see Steeler. And I think it is Grunt and Steeler who get into this conversation about... Anyway, if you haven't seen it, go and find it. They've got the episodes on YouTube. And, that's pretty much all I have to say about this guy. You got the cross-sell on the back of the Retro Joes, which you can get, of course. And next time I will be doing a review on Cobra the Enemy, their infantry trooper, on the next review. But before we exit this review, here is a picture of the original 1983 Grunt. Okay, now that you've seen that picture, that pretty much does it for this review, except I really wish I can get my hands on this figure. He's a really cool figure. But nonetheless, that does it for the review. Well, there you have it. There's my G.I. Joe toy review. And also, I would like to say thank you to all those veterans, to all those real-life grunts who make our freedoms possible. And until next time, this has been Hebro77 saying, knowing isn't just half the battle, it's the whole damn war. See you then.
For freedom, wherever there's trouble, G.I. Joe is there.
It's here, the G.I. Joe collection. Infantry trooper. Codename Grunt. Bazooka soldier. Codename Zap. Motor soldier. Codename Short Fuse. Laser rifle trooper. Codename Flash. Ranger. Codename Stalker. Communications officer. Codename Breaker. Machine gunner. Codename Rock and Roll. Counterintelligence. Codename Scarlet. Commando. Codename Snake Eyes. Each sold separately. G.I. Joe from Hasbro.